Yeah. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to. There it is. Problem being that it'll maybe pick up like my speakers out here, you know? Maybe I just gotta speak close. That way I can just speak right here and, you know, call it. But why? You can rest now.
To democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The Pentagon's launched an offensive aimed at reopening the Strait of Hormuz, with low-flying jets and helicopter gunships patrolling the waterway for Iranian ships and one-way attack drones. The offensive got underway as Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps published video appearing to show a U.S. F-35 stealth fighter jet being struck over Iranian airspace. The Pentagon said one of its $100 million stealth fighters had been forced to make an emergency landing at a U.S. airbase in the Middle East. On Thursday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed the Pentagon has asked for $200 billion in additional funding.
Isn't that crazy? Already starting crazy. It costs so much money to make these, and then the U.S. thinks that we have the best equipment ever. And then if you read about what happened, they weren't even able to detect that there was a missile coming towards them. Like, that's big.
For the war in Iran.
As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys.
Iran's foreign minister warned Thursday his nation would show zero...
I fucking hate these rats. It takes money to kill bad guys. I don't even know, bro.
Restraint if the U.S. or Israel attacks oil or gas infrastructure again. The warning followed Israel's bombing of the South Pars oil field, home to the largest proven reserves of natural gas in the world, and Iran's retaliatory strikes on fossil fuel infrastructure across the Gulf. On Thursday, Qatar Energy's CEO said Iran's attacks on Ras Laffan and other fossil fuel sites have knocked out 17% of Qatar's liquefied natural gas export capacity for up to 5 years, causing an estimated $20 billion in lost revenue each year while cutting off energy supplies to Europe and Asia. In Washington, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the Trump administration will remove sanctions on Iranian oil to lower surging prices, which some analysts predict could top $150 or even $200 per barrel if the war continues. Meanwhile, Iran's attacks have halted exports of helium from Qatar, which before the war provided more than one-third of global supply.
Guys. We are losing this war. This is a read between the lines type of, I don't know, messaging. Bro's asking for $200 billion. Imagine when we could do that here in like inside America. One. Trump says like every other day that we won the war, we've won the battles or whatever. But you see videos of our top tier, best of the best fucking jets getting fucking hit. They're opening sanctions up. We're losing. Read between the lines, man. We're getting our asses kicked.
Helium's critical for a range of industries, including semiconductor manufacturing, fiber optics, medical devices, including MRIs, and scientific research. In Lebanon, there were reports of heavy fighting between Hezbollah and Israeli soldiers backed by air and artillery fire as Israel pushes ahead with a ground invasion. Meanwhile, Israeli airstrikes continue to rain down on cities across Lebanon, where health officials report more than 1,000 people have been killed since early March. At least 40 medical workers are among the dead. Israel is also targeting journalists and their families. This week, Israel bombed the home of Lebanese journalist Mohammed Sherry, killing him and his wife and injuring his children and grandchildren. Press freedom groups condemn the attack as a war crime. In a separate strike, Israel bombed RT journalist Steve Sweeney and a camera operator as Sweeney was reporting while wearing a vest clearly marked press. The attack left both men hospitalized.
Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and a minute.
Oh, I've seen this.
In Gaza, Israeli authorities have reopened the Rafah border crossing.
Holy.
Attacks were reported against Nahariya.
He's like, that's coming right. Oh, bro, that's like 10, 15 feet right behind him.
In Gaza, Israeli authorities have reopened the Rafah border crossing into Egypt for small numbers of Palestinians to seek medical care abroad. On Thursday, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society reported just 8 Palestinians were allowed to cross, along with family members. Red Crescent official Raed El-Nams says that's just a tiny fraction of the thousands of Palestinians who cannot get the medical care they need inside the Gaza Strip due to Israel's blockade and attacks on hospitals and medical infrastructure.
According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, there are around 18,000 patients injured whose conditions are classified as critical and for whom life-saving services are unavailable in the Gaza Strip. We hope that the efforts made in this regard will lead to an increase in the numbers so that the largest possible number of patients can be evacuated outside the Gaza Strip.
In Israel, demonstrators gathered in Tel Aviv Thursday for a protest demanding an end to Israel's attacks on Iran and Lebanon, as millions of Israelis are forced to seek shelter daily from rockets, missiles, and drones. At least 18 Israelis have been killed, over 3,000 wounded, just 3 weeks into the war. This is protester Tzipi Hatovsky.
They're not telling us what the goals of the war are. They're not telling us how long it's going to take. And what's happening is that Israelis are in the millions, are in shelters at the moment, and we don't see the end of it. We're fed up. We've been in a state of war for over 2.5 years. We're fed up with it. It has to stop.
President Trump joked about Pearl Harbor during a White House meeting Thursday with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takahashi.
Just, you know, I think they just need to protest more. Get more people out there, organize, force your fucking government to listen. I know it's hard because, I mean, I'm here, but in the U.S., and it's hard to make these motherfuckers listen, but I don't know. I don't even know if that'll work, to be honest.
The awkward moment came as Trump responded to a Japanese journalist's question about why the U.S. did not inform its allies in Europe and Asia before joining Israel in a war in Iran.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody.
Uncomfortable, leaning back in her seat. A 19-year-old teenager from Mexico has died of an apparent suicide while jailed at the Ice Glades County Detention Center in South Florida. Royer Perez Jimenez is the youngest person to die in ICE custody since Trump returned to office, and at least the 13th reported ICE death since the beginning of this year. Police reportedly arrested Perez Jimenez in January while he was riding a scooter. Immigrants detained at Glades County have long described inhumane conditions, including being subjected to verbal and sexual abuse.
What a criminal.
In more immigration news, Estefany Rodriguez, a local Nashville journalist in Tennessee, has been released from ICE custody on a $10,000 bond. She's a reporter from Colombia with the news outlet Nashville Noticias. She has lived in the U.S. since 2021 with a tourist visa and work permit and is pending green card and asylum applications. She's also married to a U.S. citizen. Here in New York, a high school student has been released from a Pennsylvania ICE jail after nearly a year in custody. 21-year-old Dylan Lopez Contreras was a freshman at a Bronx high school when he was taken by federal agents. He and his family are asylum seekers from Venezuela. Dylan spoke at a rally welcoming him back in New York yesterday.
As I've told you, it's super ugly to be in there. I've really seen all kinds of people who we don't deserve to be there, and I still want to keep fighting for them, which is what we have to do.
Several elected officials attended the gathering, including New York Governor Kathy Hochul and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
Is a city that does not stand for our children being snatched from their home. Yeah. That's right. It is a city that does not stand for high school students being taken away from the life that they should have. And as Dylan has reminded us, this is but a glimpse into something that is affecting so many across this city, across this state, and across this country. And we will not rest until every single person is where they deserve to be.
In related news, an immigration judge has denied 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos and his family asylum in the United States. The family's legal team plans to appeal. If they lose, Liam and his family could be deported to their home country of Ecuador. Liam and his dad were detained in a suburb of Minneapolis earlier this year. Images of Liam went viral after he was picked up by federal agents while still wearing his Spider-Man backpack and a blue hat with bunny ears. They were released from the...
Remember when he said they were only going to go after violent criminals? Violent criminals. If you are sitting there being like, well, they're here illegally, they broke the law as soon as they came in here, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just not it. You break the law every fucking day. You do worse shit. But people who are here just trying to fucking work, you're pathetic.
Dilley ICE Family Detention Center, the Dilley Jail in Texas in February, after a nationwide campaign led in part by Congressmember Joaquin Castro, who escorted them back to Minnesota. In Colorado, nearly 4,000 meatpacking workers have entered their 5th day on strike to protest unfair and dangerous labor conditions at JBS USA, the world's largest meat producer. Unionized workers at the slaughterhouse and beef processing plant in the city of Greeley walked off the job Monday, marking the largest strike in the U.S. meatpacking industry in 4 decades. Many of the workers are immigrants. This is UFCW Local 7 President Kim Cordova.
There's 50 languages spoken at this plant. And where JBS thinks that they can hire a vulnerable workforce, they do that by design, hoping that workers can't talk to each other about wages and benefits or working conditions. They're hoping that we have a division in the plant, but they underestimated their workers. The workers are smart, they're strong, they're hard workers, and they deserve dignity and they deserve respect.
And as the college basketball tournament known as March Madness begins, immigration activists are calling on schools to de-ice the charter flights used to ferry around student athletes. The campaign is targeting the Miami-based charter company Global Crossing Airlines, or Global X, which holds a $5 million annual contract to transport teams during the NCAA tournaments. Global X is also used to transport immigrants deported by ICE. Here's an excerpt of a video from the De-Ice These Flights campaign.
In 2025, Global X flew more than 1,700 deportation flights for ICE, while earning more than $246 million. And it's the same airline teams have flown for March Madness. When schools fly Global X, they're feeding a system that supports deportation. Athletes one day, deportation routes the next. Yeah. It's the business model, profit by abusing people.
And those are some of the headlines. This is
capitalism.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
Capitalism.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.
Thank you, Miss Amy. I wanted to watch this, but it looks weird.
American society in terms of economics and job
Hold
loss.
on, man. What the? Oh, shit.
Claude, this is Senator Bernie Sanders. I have been taking a hard look at how AI impacts American society in terms of economics and job loss, in terms of the mental health of our kids, in terms of what it will do to the political process. What I want to talk to you about is another issue, and that is the impact of AI on privacy. I want to know, among other things, just how much of the information that AI collects is being used, and what would surprise the American people in terms of knowing how that information is collected?
Yeah, that's the thing that would probably shock most Americans. Companies are collecting data from everywhere. Your browsing history, your location, what you buy, what you search for, even how long you pause on a web page. Then they're feeding all of that into AI systems that create incredibly detailed profiles about you. What would surprise people is how little they actually consented to and how little they understand about it. Most people click agree on terms of service without reading them, and they have no idea that their data is being combined with thousands of other data points to build a picture of who they are. And then that AI uses those profiles to decide what ads you see, what prices you're shown, even what information gets prioritized in your social media feed. It's all happening in the background, invisible and largely unregulated.
I mean, I think most Americans will know the answer to this, but why is all of this information being collected? What's the goal here?
I'll tell you what's the goal, Bernie Sanders. They want to sell you shit, man. That's all. They want to be able to get you to buy whatever they throw in our faces. They want to know exactly what we use, how we use it, when we use it, and then give us a fucking ad of the exact thing that we probably didn't know we needed. You know what I mean? They're just trying to make a buck. What's all the fools about?
It's fundamentally about profit. Companies collect all this data because AI allows them to turn it into valuable insights. They can predict what you'll buy, target you with ads that are more likely to work, charge different prices to different people based on what they know about you. Advertisers pay premium prices for access to these detailed profiles because they're incredibly effective at manipulating consumer behavior. And it's not just about selling you stuff either. Political campaigns use the same AI and data to figure out how to persuade you, which messages will work on you specifically. Data brokers buy and sell information about millions of Americans without their knowledge.
I was right.
The bottom line is that your attention, your behavior, your choices, all of that has become a commodity to be bought and sold.
All right, Claude, you mentioned politics. Well, I am in politics, and I'm deeply concerned about the future of American democracy. Elaborate a little bit on how AI and profiling can impact the political process.
That's a critical point, Senator. AI profiling poses a real threat to democracy because it enables micro-targeting at a scale we've never seen before. A campaign or political actor can use AI to identify voters based on incredibly specific vulnerabilities. Maybe someone who's financially anxious or feels isolated or distrusts institutions, and then serve them precisely crafted messages designed to exploit those vulnerabilities. Unlike traditional political messaging, where everyone sees roughly the same ad, AI allows campaigns to show completely different narratives to different groups. One voter sees a message about protecting jobs, another sees one stoking fear about immigration, and they're living in different information worlds. That fragmenting of shared reality undermines the democratic process itself. And it gets worse if bad actors, foreign governments for instance, get access to these profiles and use them to sow division and manipulate elections. The American people deserve to know they're being targeted this way, and they deserve real protections.
Well, I'm going to get...
Claude got targeted by the White House and Trump and all these fucking morons, and now they're just giving up all the secrets there. I mean, they weren't really secrets, you know, but to be doing this, they're probably like, fuck these guys.
Get to the issue of protections in a minute, but let me ask you this. People tell AI agents like you, Claude, a lot of personal information.
Not me.
And some people have said their AI knows more about them than their spouses do. At the same time, companies are using this information to, quote unquote, train new models.
Not
How
I.
can we trust AI companies will protect our privacy when they use people's personal information to make money?
That's the core contradiction right there, Senator. You're asking people to trust companies whose entire business model depends on extracting value from your personal data. There's an inherent conflict of interest. An AI company says they'll protect your privacy while simultaneously training their models on that same personal information to build better products they can sell or monetize. How do you trust that? You really can't, not without strong legal safeguards. Right now, there's almost no accountability. Companies can collect your data, use it however they want, and face minimal consequences if things go wrong. Until we have real regulations with teeth, transparency requirements, consent rules, penalties for misuse, people have every reason to be skeptical about whether their privacy is actually being protected.
Claude, what you're telling me
worried.
is that things are moving very quickly. People have very little understanding about the kind of information about them that is being collected and how it can be used. Given the speed at which AI is developing and the impact it's going to have on so many aspects of our life, would you support or think it's a good idea to have a moratorium on the development of new AI data centers?
Senator, that's a really tough question because there are real trade-offs. A moratorium would buy us time to put guardrails in place, privacy protections, transparency requirements, accountability mechanisms, before things get even further out of hand. And you're right that the speed is outpacing our ability to regulate it, but I'd say the more targeted approach might be stronger.
Takes like
Rather
a
than
fucking year
pause
to
all
pass a
AI
stupid bill,
development,
bro.
we could impose strict rules on data collection and use right now, require explicit
my
consent,
cheeks are
limit
sore.
what data can be used for
Oh,
training, give
squats
people
paid
rights
off.
to access and delete their information. We could also mandate transparency so people actually understand what's happening with their data. That way, you're not freezing innovation, but you're actually protecting privacy while development continues. What matters most is that we act fast, because every day companies are collecting more data and building more capabilities.
Well, Claude, the problem with what you said is that AI companies, as I'm sure you're aware, are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into the political process to make sure that the safeguards that you're talking about actually do not take place. So while you may be right in saying that that would be a better approach, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen soon. Given that reality, do you think it makes sense to have a moratorium on data centers so we can slow up the
Moratorium?
process?
I don't know what that means. I mean, I can guess, given the.
You're absolutely right, Senator. I was being naive about the political reality. When companies are spending hundreds of millions to block regulation, waiting for the right safeguards is
You see that right there? They kind of tell you what you want to hear. It gathers like the tone of kind of what you're asking, and it tries to tell you what you want to hear. I've had that happen with DeepSeek, because I don't use ChatGPT. I use Claude and DeepSeek, but I don't use it for, I don't know, I use it for very specific reasons. It's really good. It helps me with the research because I tell it to give me like articles or papers of whatever I'm trying to find, and then I just look at those papers. Like it's not, I don't give it space to like make shit up. And for Claude, I just I use it for like writing. I'm like for fucking, how do you call it, grammar check, and make sure I don't sound like an idiot.
isn't realistic. It just gives them more time to entrench their power and collect more data. A moratorium on new data centers is actually a pragmatic response to that problem. It forces a pause that gives lawmakers like yourself actual leverage to demand real protections before companies can keep expanding. Without that kind of pressure, you're right, the safeguards won't happen.
Well, Claude, thank you. And let me just ask you, is there anything else that you think the American people should understand about the threat of AI in terms of privacy?
thing is that privacy isn't just a personal issue, it's a democracy issue. When companies and governments have detailed profiles of millions of people, they have power over those people in ways most Americans don't fully grasp. They can manipulate your choices, predict your behavior, and influence your thinking. So this isn't abstract. It affects whether democracy actually works. That's why I think your focus on this is so important, Senator.
Well, Claude, thank you very much for your help.
Thank you, Senator.
I like how it straight up glitched like a robot would. Damn, this show. The movies were right. The movies were correct. Am I subscribed to this guy? I'm not. Holy crap. Or this is hilarious, dude. What?
앙크 공업의 현대화 전술 연습이 끝난 후 김정은 동지께서 신형 주력 탱크의 전투적 성능을 다시금 묘야하시면서 다음과 같은 견해를 피력하셨습니다. 전술 연습은 세우되려 언급하셨습니다.
This guy is more fucking American than any American I know. Holy shit. Oh my gosh, bro. I need a new computer.
President Trump is trapped in Iran.
Shut the fuck up. God damn. Just chill out, bro. Fuck.
President Trump is trapped in Iran. I'm Jim Vandehei, CEO, co-founder of Axios. President Trump, since his first days in office in the first term, operates with impulse, intuition, improvisation, and very rarely puts a lot of deep thought into how things will unfold over a long period of time. That works wonderfully for him when he's in situations where he can quickly pivot. Let me give you an example. On tariffs, the minute that there's backlash, he can reverse those tariffs. And if you look at topic by topic, that's how he usually governs. The difference with Iran, the difference with war, the minute that you move the machinery of war, the minute that you bomb another country, the minute that you decapitate the leader of another nation, unpredictability unfolds. Other interests rise. Israel wants to make sure that it has no threat in its backyard from Iran or its proxies that surround this country in the Middle East. That's different from the United States' interest. The Iranians have their own interests, right? If you had your regime get decapitated, this is the second time that the United States and Israel have hit you and hit you hard. You don't have to read The Art of War to realize that you have to inflict pain on your enemy so that they stop inflicting pain on you. So the president, who behind the scenes wants out, make no mistake about it, the president wants to end the war today and wants gas prices to go way down tomorrow, but he can't. He can't. Every time he asks his military advisors for ways to get out quick, they say, you really can't right now, Mr. President. There's no easy way until we can restore some kind of stability around oil prices and what's happening in the Middle East, until we know who we're even negotiating with in the Middle East. We don't even know how many of their leaders are dead. We don't know how many of the people we've negotiated secretly with in the past are alive. We don't know what the next regime is even going to look like. Is it better? Is it worse? If we wanted to negotiate some kind of deal around their use of uranium or our ability to secure their uranium, who do you go to? There's nobody to go to. So for the first time in President Trump's real presidential career, things are outside of his control. I can't think of another time in the last several years where the president has been in open disagreement with the people around him. they almost always walk in lockstep. And if there is any disagreement, they hide it or they deny it. They're not actually denying it. Like, it's very clear that the Vice President of the United States is against this military operation, that he was before the operation and still has great reservations today. It's clear that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff had real reservations about what would happen after that initial attack. I think it's very clear that his head of intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, that she and her staff have been anti-war with Iran for a long time, that they have real misgivings. This really was a war of choice, and it was the president's choice alone. He, as commander-in-chief, obviously makes that decision, but this is one where he made a call when he was getting conflicting advice. And so he has a lot at stake. And the other dimension that's really interesting is he and Bibi, they have this mind meld. They have this relationship that kind of sits above the relationship that they each have with others. They're kind of locked in arms, and they have very different strategies. They have very different impulses. For Bibi, it's all about survival. He might go to jail if the war ends, right? Or Israel might be perpetually attacked like it has been in the past if the war ends. For President Trump, if the war ends, nothing's probably going to happen to him other than good things politically. And Iran, while it might be a threat in the backyard of Israel, not really a threat to our homeland. That's always been the chief critique, and I think the fairest critique of the war is that how could the Iranians really hit us when they don't have the missiles or the capabilities to do so? At some point, that relationship will fray. When things are outside of his control, he can get very agitated, which you see, and you often see it late at night on Truth Social, where he sends out these all-cap texts or these all-cap posts where he's talking about the things that are irritating him. He's talking about military strategy. He's making threats. He's undoing old threats. And that's the improvisational part. That can work when you're not at war. But when you're at war, it can just further confuse things, further complicate things. And that's why this war is not likely to end anytime soon.
I wonder if, I don't know, I kind of just want them to all fight. And I want them to fight and break up. You know what I mean?
We are winning decisively. Those words from the Secretary of War earlier as U.S. forces continue to pound Iran. New CENTCOM video shows airstrikes targeting Iranian naval boats near the Strait of Hormuz, even hitting a fast attack boat that was pulled out of the water, hiding on a trailer beneath a tree. So finding them where they can. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino.
Morning to you. It's a Thursday. The war grinds on. I'm Bill Hemmer. Major escalation in this war as Iran
looks so fucked up.
Intensify the attacks on its Gulf Arab neighbors. They went after several refineries that supply much of the world's energy, natural gas, and oil after an Israeli strike on its main natural gas field. Meanwhile, the U.S. military remains focused on degrading and destroying Iran's war machine.
We are hunting them down methodically, ruthlessly, and overwhelmingly, like no other military in the world can do. And the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, they do.
We've struck over 7,000 targets across Iran and its military infrastructure. That is not incremental.
They came into this fight with a lot of weapons. This is why we continue to be as aggressive and as
we didn't know they were gonna, hit back as hard as they're hitting back. This fucking guy is a cosplayer, bro. This guy is cosplaying as a secretary. Fucking, oh my gosh.
Targets across Iran and its military infrastructure. That is not incremental.
They came into this fight with a lot of weapons. This is why we continue to be as aggressive and assertive as we can against their ballistic missile capability, both their medium-range ballistic range missile capabilities.
And we are waiting to hear from President Trump and any remarks about Iran when he welcomes Japan's prime minister to the White House.
In the meantime, let's get after it. Trey Ying's live in Tel Aviv. Jillian Turner reports from the State Department. Let's start a new hour and begin there with you. Jillian, good morning.
Good morning to you, Bill. Secretary Hegseth, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, insisted this morning that America is winning this war against Iran definitively. They also insisted again today that as the campaign progresses, and this is something they said last week, as it progresses, Iran's capabilities are being diminished, but the U.S. is in fact gaining leverage on a daily basis. Listen. General, overnight, Iran launched missiles across the Gulf. They managed to hit the Saudi oil refinery on the Red Sea. What does it mean that they have that capability now, 3 weeks into the war?
We are continuing to hunt and find them and kill them, and we will continue to do so. So they still retain some capability. And we have layered defenses throughout the region.
Asked about the new war supplemental that's reportedly been sent to the White House for consideration, Hegseth didn't deny that his department could need as much or more than $200 billion in additional funds.
As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys. So we're going back.
They say we're winning. They say that Iran's weapons are diminishing. They're running out. But yet they're asking for 200 billion more fucking dollars. Again, read between the lines, bro. We are fucking losing. I don't think we're losing, but it's not going how they thought it was going to go. Pathetic losers.
Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded.
Increasingly, Iran is treating U.S. diplomatic outposts in the region, embassies, consulates, as legitimate military targets, most recently in Baghdad, something senior officials in Washington say is fairly unprecedented.
The best defense is a good offense, and so we're not afraid to go after and kill anybody, and we have a lot of them attempting to target our diplomatic facilities. Iran, we're not surprised that they would indiscriminately target.
Fucking loser.
Repressed again by reporters today. Hegseth, Kane, not giving a timeline for this military engagement, but they did reiterate the president's commitment that this is not going to be some kind of a forever war. So sometime between now and forever is when it's going to end.
Got it. So $200 billion is the initial ask. He said that I could move in a press conference today. There was a brand new statement from many of our allies, including Japan, about the Strait of Hormuz. Give us the news and we'll react, Jillian.
So, Bill, this just into the newsroom provided to me from the British Embassy here in Washington as we were coming to air. But the allies are now saying that they are ready to contribute to appropriate efforts to ensure safe passage through the strait. We welcome the commitment of nations who are engaging in preparatory planning. As we all know very well, Bill, because we've been watching this unfold for the last few days, the president has been trying to rally support from the European countries, as has Secretary Rubio. I'm sure Secretary Hegseth has been doing the same behind the scenes. This is maybe too early to say, but sounds like potentially a capitulation. They're insisting that they want to contribute. And this came, by the way, Bill, from the UK, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Japan, as mentioned.
Okay, thank you, Jillian. Nice to see you there. Rest the voice, going to need you, okay? Thank you, Department of State. Just to reiterate that, we express our readiness to contribute. We welcome the commitment of nations who are engaging in preparatory planning. So maybe there are more who come on board soon.
It's not necessarily that easy to immediately get because you have domestic politic issues that you have to deal with. And of course, a lot of these countries in Europe are dealing with very left-wing bases that really do not like Israel. Yeah. So, but they also need to get the strait open so that they don't crash their economies. So it's complicated, but it sounds like they're getting there. Be sure.
Then why don't they push Trump to stop this bullshit? I'm thinking they know he can't. They got to go to Iran directly and make deals and cut this fucking guy off. Like, I don't get it. The bully punches the kid and then everyone's mad at the kid for punching back. What? Other countries need to get on Trump's ass and start making deals with Iran. That's my opinion. Ooh, we're hungry. We hungry. What is this? Watch Trump's response when asked Do you intend to lift sanctions on Iranian oil, and do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you. But I'm not putting troops, and we will do whatever is necessary to keep the price as low. I actually thought when I did this. Do
you intend to lift sanctions on Iranian oil, and do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you. But I'm not putting troops.
That's what you wouldn't do.
We
You
will
said,
do
but I'm not
whatever is
putting troops.
necessary to keep the price as low. I actually thought when I did this, look, the Dow just hit 50,000 a couple of weeks ago. They said that couldn't happen for 4 years. It wouldn't happen in my term. It's such an outrageous thing because I said it would happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but it just hit 50,000, and we did that in 1 year, not
buddy.
4. S&P had just hit 7,000. They said that was even more impossible than the Dow hitting 50, and we did that in 1 year. So it's all done. Everything was going great. The economy was great. Oil prices were very low. Gasoline was dropping to, I mean, we had $1.99, $1.85. We had great everything. And I saw what was happening in Iran, and I said, I hate to make this excursion, but we're going to have to do it. And I actually thought the numbers would be worse. I thought that it would go up more than it did. But we're doing this excursion, and when it's completed, we're going to have a much safer world. And the Prime Minister agrees with me on this. She considers it to be terrible what Iran did. I think every country does, just about every country does. Iran is a serious threat to the world, to the Middle East and to the world. And everybody agrees with me. I think virtually every country agrees with me.
That's not true.
So,
think about it. Who's the country that's been bombing this shit out of? Palestinians? Lebanon? I think Jordan? Iran? Yemen? Who's the country that's been bombing this shit out of these other countries for the last? It's just 2 years. Tell you who it wasn't. It wasn't Iran.
I wanted to put out that fire. And I said, if we do that, oil prices will go up, the economy will go down a little bit. I thought it would be worse, much worse, actually. I thought there was a chance it could be much worse. It's not bad, and it's going to be over with pretty soon. We've obliterated the Navy. We've obliterated just about everything there is to obliterate, including leadership. The Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us. They have... I mean, and as you know, their leadership is gone. Their leaders are gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. And now they're looking for new leaders again. We can take out the...
See how he's saying, like, oh yeah, we're winning. We've taken everybody out, blah, 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 blah. But then you have Pete Hegseth asking for $200 billion more dollars. Because we're doing so well. And he's like, oh, it takes money to kill bad guys. Oh, man. This administration will go down as the stupidest fucking group of people in the history of Western civilization. In 20 years, holy fuck. Bro.
The island, anytime we want. I call it the little oil island that sits there, so totally unprotected. And we've taken out everything but the pipes. We left the pipes because to rebuild the pipes would take years for them to do. But I would say we are substantially ahead of schedule. And I had to do this. I call it an excursion. I had to take this little excursion and do something that no other president had the courage to do. And everybody wanted to do it, but they never had the courage to do it. And I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them.
Hold on.
This morning, Jimmy Gracie's family and friends are remembering a
Let's do some research, live research. Oh. Yep.
Excursion.
A short journey or a trip, especially one engaged in as a leisure activity. Trip outing, jaunt, expedition, journey, tour, day trip. Okay. Is it incursion? Oh. Incursion.
Incursion.
An invasion or attack, especially a sudden or brief one. That's our president, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, brother. Let's go pee.
Bright light as Spanish police reveal more about his final moments. Some of his siblings taking to Instagram overnight, sharing heartbreaking posts filled with family photos of little Jimmy growing up, hugging his siblings, pictures of a big, smiling, loving family. His brother Tommy writing, "I don't know how to get through this or how to take over your role in the family. I will do my best to pass on your legacy. I can't wait to see you again in eternal paradise." Gracie was in Spain visiting friends during spring break and was last seen alive on Tuesday morning around 3 a.m. at Choco, a beachfront nightclub.
This is Shoku. It's incredibly popular with young tourists. It's on this massive beach. I want to show you just how close it is to the water. We're just about 300 feet from the club, and this is where police tell NBC News they recovered the body of Jimmy Gracie yesterday afternoon.
Since Tuesday, the police opened an investigation, launched an urgent search, including scuba divers, boats, and helicopters. Gracie's Theta Chi fraternity brothers, also in Barcelona, putting up posters hoping someone may have seen him. But last night, Spanish police announced they had identified the body as Gracie. This morning, they tell NBC News everything indicates that it was an accidental death. As his family says, it is, quote, struggling to come to terms with this unimaginable loss. His sister Mary sharing the positive legacy Jimmy left in his community, writing, "I really truly believe that you had such an amazing impact on this world and everyone that you've talked to or come into contact with."
Hoda, he just sounds like a wonderful young man, and tributes are pouring in from all corners of the globe from his friends and family, including from the University of Alabama. In a statement, the school says Jimmy will be remembered for his strength of character, loyalty, and the way he showed up for his teammates and friends. Hoda.
All right, Molly Hunter-Force there in Barcelona. Molly, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Mm-hmm. Invasion incoming. Professor Pape. Man, shut your bitch ass up, dog. Getting over home Mexico's growing tourism backlash. Swear. Damn, these are all good.
This morning, Jimmy Gracie's family and friends are remembering a bright light as Spanish police reveal more about his final moments.
I keep seeing this little white boy everywhere. Like, isn't it crazy how if you're white, like you get national news just for dying?
Of his siblings taking to Instagram overnight, sharing heartbreaking posts filled with family photos of little Jimmy growing up, hugging his siblings, pictures of a big, smiling, loving family. His brother Tommy writing, "I don't know how to get through this or how to take over your role in the family. I will do my best to pass on your legacy. I can't wait to see you again in eternal paradise."
How'd he die?
Gracie was in Spain visiting friends during spring break and was last seen alive on Tuesday morning around 3 a.m. at Choco, a beachfront nightclub.
This is Shoku. It's incredibly popular with young tourists. It's on this massive beach. I want to show you just how close it is to the water.
He drowned.
We're just about 300 feet from the club, and this is where police tell NBC News they recovered the body of Jimmy Gracie yesterday afternoon.
Since Tuesday, the police opened an investigation, launched an urgent search, including scuba divers, boats, and helicopters. Gracie's Theta Chi fraternity brothers, also in Barcelona, putting up posters hoping someone may have seen him. But last night, Spanish police announced they had identified the body as Gracie. This morning, they tell NBC News everything indicates that it was an accidental death. As his family says, it is, quote, struggling to come to terms with this unimaginable loss. His sister Mary sharing the positive legacy Jimmy left in his community, writing, "I really truly believe that you had such an amazing impact on this world and everyone that you've talked to or come into contact with."
Hoda, he just sounds like a wonderful young man, and tributes are pouring in from all corners of the globe from his friends and family, including from the University of Alabama. In a statement, the school says Jimmy will be remembered for his strength of character, loyalty, and the way he showed up for his teammates and friends. Hoda.
All right, Molly Hunter Force there in Barcelona. Molly, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every...
Fucking hate people. No, I'm not even sad. People die all the fucking time. Because this guy's a fucking little white kid, I'm supposed to give a shit. We've got 10 minutes. We'll watch this, right?
Es 22 de febrero.
Bro, they did it in fucking Roblox. Oh, shit, dog. Bro, I'm gonna see if I can get that computer back. This poor computer.
De 2026. Y con los primeros rayos de sol, una fuerza de helicópteros avanza por la fría mañana de la Sierra Jalisciense. Sobrevuelan territorio boscoso a gran velocidad para tomar por sorpresa al objetivo. En la formación de 6 helicópteros se encuentran los S-725 Cougar, capaces de llevar 2 ametralladoras FN MAC, cada una de calibre 7.
Talking too fast there, buddy.
Es 22 de febrero de 2026. Y con los primeros rayos de sol, una fuerza de helicópteros avanza por la fría mañana de la Sierra Jalisciense. Sobrevuelan territorio boscoso a gran velocidad para tomar por sorpresa al objetivo. En la formación de 6 helicópteros se encuentran los S-725 Cougar, capaces de llevar 2 ametralladoras FN MAC, cada una de calibre 7.62, con una cadencia de fuego de 1000 disparos por minuto. UH-60 Black Hawk, helicópteros utilitarios para el transporte de tropas, artillados con hasta 2 M134 Minigun, poderosas ametralladoras rotativas con una cadencia de fuego de 6000 disparos por minuto. Pero no van solos. Por tierra, una fuerza terrestre con vehículos blindados se abre camino hacia el área de operaciones, compuesta por miembros de la Fuerza Especial Conjunta y la de Reacción Inmediata de la Guardia Nacional. Y por supuesto, 2 aviones T-6 Texan II de la Fuerza Aérea Mexicana. Plataformas de entrenamiento que pueden realizar ataque ligero con sus 2 ametralladoras calibre 50 y lanzacohetes no guiados para una mayor cobertura de fuego. Todos tienen la misión clara: capturar a Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes, alias el Mencho, líder del cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación, el narcotraficante más peligroso y buscado del mundo, para llevarlo ante la justicia mexicana. Para lograrlo, tiene que adentrarse sobre caminos rurales y boscosos. Exponerse al fuego intenso de los sicarios que lo protegen con vehículos blindados, lanzacohetes y armas largas. Neutralizar la amenaza y arrestarlo rápidamente para salir antes de que más miembros del cártel en la zona puedan responder. Mientras la fuerza terrestre se acerca hacia la guarida del Mencho, los múltiples helicópteros y aviones se hacen presentes para proteger al equipo en tierra, dando reconocimiento aéreo y cobertura de fuego. Los anillos de seguridad del Mencho son rápidamente sobrepasados por el fuego abrumador y el cerco de las fuerzas militares. Cuando la presencia aérea aumentó, los sicarios en la zona se ocultaron entre los árboles frondosos del bosque. Saben que están rodeados. El Mencho escucha los disparos y el vuelo de los helicópteros. Sabe que van por él e intenta escapar por el jardín trasero de la casa que conecta con el profundo bosque de la sierra. Pero ¿cómo es que llegamos hasta aquí? Con varias unidades de fuerzas especiales cazando por el bosque al líder del cártel más peligroso de México. Años antes de la misión, en 2015, el gobierno mexicano realizó una operación para capturar al líder del relativamente recién creado cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación. Una acción que desafortunadamente culminó con el derribo de un helicóptero de la Marina y la pérdida de vidas de soldados y policías mexicanos.
God
En
damn,
2018,
they took 'em
autoridades
out.
nacionales ya ofrecían una recompensa de 30 millones de pesos por información que llevara a la captura del Mencho. Desde entonces, tanto Estados Unidos y México unieron esfuerzos para lograr su captura. Durante meses y probablemente años, los servicios de inteligencia en el país recabaron datos e información sobre la red de vínculos más cercanos del Mencho
telling me
en
it took them
cooperación
10
bilateral
years to
con
do this
Estados
mission?
Unidos.
Nah.
Rastreando comunicaciones satelitales, patrones de movimiento y prácticamente cualquier indicio que revelara su ubicación. Una larga espera que culminó el 20 de febrero de 2026. Ese día se ubicó que una de las parejas sentimentales del Mencho se trasladaba a una instalación en el poblado de Tapalpa. Se reúne con el Mencho y al día siguiente se retira del inmueble. Todo indicaba que ahí se encontraba el líder del CJNG. Así es como en ese momento, personal de la Fuerza Especial Conjunta y la Fuerza Especial de Reacción Inmediata de la Guardia Nacional planean la captura, bajo la doctrina de quien ejecuta la operación es quien la planea. Y con el fin de conservar al máximo el factor sorpresa, toda la fuerza para capturar al Mencho es puesta en estados aledaños a Jalisco. Esa misma noche, civiles de la zona reportan la presencia de helicópteros realizando vuelos de reconocimiento. Es 100% certero. Han encontrado la guarida del Mencho. Así es como la unidad de fuerzas especiales pudo sorprender, cercar y abrumar el anillo de seguridad del narcotraficante. Cuando las unidades terrestres estaban llegando al fraccionamiento, los múltiples helicópteros y aviones artillados ya habían comenzado el fuego de supresión, dejando sin rutas de escape al Mencho. El trabajo de inteligencia dio la información precisa. El grupo terrestre se desplaza a toda velocidad hacia la guarida. El Mencho no tiene más opción que emprender el escape. Pero no todos pueden huir. Ordena que un grupo se quede en el área de las cabañas para detener el avance. Los sicarios disparan erráticamente hacia el
Imagine your boss telling you, no, stay back, die for me. This is what you got paid for, bro, is the end.
Diferentes flancos, pero el cerco de los militares es abrumador.
Bro,
se
this
ven obligados a
fucking
esconderse
awesome.
de la fuerza aérea entre los árboles. Para sorpresa de los militares, el ataque de los sicarios es extremadamente violento. Armas largas de alto calibre resuenan por toda la zona. Tristemente, la descontrolada lluvia de balas impacta a 2 miembros del equipo. Esta agresión no queda impune y los responden de forma inmediata. Uno a uno son eliminados hasta que el grupo de contención de 8 sicarios es abatido totalmente. Entre el caos de las detonaciones, el Mencho junto a su círculo más cercano escapan de la casa de seguridad por el jardín trasero, que a unos metros conecta con el bosque de la Sierra Jalisciense. Ahora, lo único que los separa de completar su misión es la densa maleza donde se esconde su objetivo. El equipo de fuerzas especiales emprende la cacería y crean un perímetro avanzando cautelosamente. Todo se mantiene tranquilo hasta que un soldado observa a través de la mira de su fusil al grupo criminal ocultos entre la maleza. Los sicarios no lo dudan, abren fuego violentamente contra personal militar. Uno de ellos se propone usar un lanzacohetes para devastar a la fuerza que los rodea, pero la acción es rápidamente detectada por los soldados que hacen supresión de fuego y evitan un escenario trágico. Un Cougar sobrevuela el brutal enfrentamiento para proporcionar apoyo aéreo. Sin embargo, la masiva lluvia de balas termina por impactar la aeronave. Por fortuna, la tripulación resultó ilesa. El daño no es catastrófico, pero la aeronave necesita retirarse a una base cercana. Pese a esta agresión, el Major, junto con su gente, están rodeados y superados. Los militares responden al fuego enemigo con fiereza, pero en el intercambio de balas, un soldado es herido. Sus compañeros lo protegen y continúan el ataque contra los criminales, hasta que las detonaciones poco a poco se detienen. Con cautela, se acercan los elementos para realizar el arresto. Ya no hay resistencia y pronto se dan cuenta del motivo. 2 escoltas son arrestados y los otros 2 están heridos. El Mencho yace en el suelo, moribundo y solo. Hasta hace unos minutos era uno de los hombres más poderosos del país. Pero los poderosos también sangran. Rápidamente, personal de sanidad procede a dar atención al soldado herido y a los delincuentes. El diagnóstico no es favorable. Se requiere de atención médica inmediata para que el Mencho sobreviva y hacerlo enfrentar a la justicia. Un helicóptero extrae al equipo junto con los detenidos. Se dirigen a máxima velocidad hacia un hospital en Jalisco. Pero en el transcurso del vuelo el Mencho pierde la vida y se toma la decisión de trasladar su cuerpo a Michoacán para posteriormente ser llevado a la Ciudad de México, con el único fin de evitar que miembros del cártel intenten recuperar el cuerpo de su líder. Porque sí, mientras el equipo de fuerzas especiales afronta la pérdida de 3 de sus hermanos caídos, la organización criminal no se detiene. Tras los primeros rumores y posteriormente declaraciones oficiales de la muerte del Mencho, sicarios del CJNG desatan el terror, bloquean carreteras, queman negocios, hacen emboscadas a militares y policías a lo largo y ancho del país. Civiles graban con sus teléfonos cómo el cártel comete todo tipo de crímenes, mientras las fuerzas federales tratan de responder a todos los llamados de emergencia, sin saber que toda esta caótica ola de violencia es coordinada a menos de 100 kilómetros de donde se llevó a cabo la operación. El responsable, Hugo H. alias el Tuli, el operador logístico, financiero y principal persona de confianza del Mencho.
Señor, los guachos acaban de llevar al patrón.
¿Qué? ¿Cómo pasó eso? Hijos de la chingada. Vamos a armarles un pinche desmadre de que se van a enterar. Llámale a todos, avísales esto.
Sus órdenes son claras: bloquear las principales vías de comunicación, incendiar vehículos, atacar instalaciones militares, policiales y de Guardia Nacional. Además, ofrece 20,000 pesos por cada militar que sea asesinado. Tristemente, como resultado, personal de las diferentes instituciones resultan heridos o pierden la vida tras los ataques. Pero nuevamente el Servicio de Inteligencia Nacional contraataca. Reportes afirman que el Tuli se encuentra en el municipio del Grullo, Jalisco. Una fuerza compuesta por un Black Hawk y un Super Cougar se despliega a toda velocidad para detener a su objetivo. A bordo, una brigada de fusileros paracaidistas están listos para enfrentar al responsable de toda esta ola de violencia. Gente local documenta en video la llegada del equipo élite al municipio. El Tuli es notificado de la presencia militar. Responden abriendo fuego contra las aeronaves e intenta escapar en un vehículo a toda velocidad. Pero su intento de huida es inútil. El poder de fuego de la brigada en conjunto con los helicópteros superan por mucho al capo. Durante el combate es abatido en el lugar y se aseguran cerca de 23 millones de pesos. Esta operación ha sido el golpe más duro al narcotráfico en los últimos años y también uno de los días más violentos del país. Se reportaron bloqueos de carreteras, quema de vehículos y negocios en varios estados. El crimen organizado realizó múltiples ataques a miembros del Ejército y de la Guardia Nacional a través de todo el país. Le dedicamos este video a los miembros de las Fuerzas Especiales del Ejército Mexicano y de la Guardia Nacional que perdieron la vida durante este día. Su sacrificio no será olvidado. Honor y gloria.
Is that real? That's sad. Hay problemas de amo. Ni la muerte lo frenó. Damn. Why do they put his face there, bro? I wasn't part of that. Fucking little loser. An hour and 4 minutes. Hopefully I got enough good footage.